Hello and welcome to Ask Motorinc. It's time for me to answer questions that you have raised in the Motorinc app in the circle section using the hashtag AskMotorinc. Shumi and I get this great opportunity to answer questions that you've posted there, and I'd love to tell you that's a fantastic reason to head to the Motorinc app. But that's a good reason. A fantastic reason to head to the Motorinc app is the Motorinc family. They're the reason that we don't have to answer all the questions you post because they are there doing it for us and giving some great answers. And now it's time for me to answer some of the questions that I wanted to answer and talk about here today. Now, on the app in the Motoring Circle section, there has been a lot of conversation recently about fuels. You can guess why. So I've chosen a few questions, the first of which is from Pranav09, and he's asking with all this about fuels and E20, should we be worried? Well, Pranav, no, don't be worried. Because you worry when there's uncertainty, when you're not sure of what's going to happen. We've already been dealt a hand. We know exactly what we've got, E20, and higher blends coming our way. Which means it's not good news for our vehicles, older vehicles. So I'm not going to be worried, but I am deeply saddened because that means vehicles that I have today, older vehicles, which I care for and are fine, and they have had a clock ticking on them from the very day I drove them out of the showroom. But now that clock is ticking a little bit faster and a little bit more erratically. And what makes me sad is that they're not going to go to the end of their lives in a glorious fashion. They might just creak and rumble a bit more than I would have wanted or expected. And that's why I'm saddened. Now let's talk about questions that Mukesh B, Panaga Bharatwaj, and many others have asked, which is about additives to fuels. Now, additives that are used, which are typically things that you add, a liquid that you'll add into your fuel tank before you go and fuel up the next time around, are doing several different tasks. There's detergents in those additives, which basically helps clean up your fuel injection system so that fuel is being sprayed better, everything just is cleaner and working more efficiently. Then there are lubricants so that the injection system is lubed, stuff like that. Then you have octane boosters, which is self explanatory. And there are also stabilizers, which means the fuel doesn't get oxidized when it is being stored. Now, all these things, I'm going to say personally, I would have never used additives earlier, but given the situation that we're in today, I would definitely think of using additives now. Because look at what ethanol is going to do in your system. One part of it, these additives can help you out with, which is to help prevent rusting in some cases, or corrosion of metallic parts, or removal of gumming or any other forms of corrosion that may be happening in the system. So the additives can help with that. What the additives cannot do, and is an effect of the ethanol in your petrol today, is the wear or the hardening of the rubber and plastic parts. Those are bits that will have to be replaced. And think about it. It could be the hoses that are connecting your fuel tank to the engine itself, other smaller parts in that system, which will all need to be upgraded and updated at some point in time. And additives aren't going to help change that. But I would definitely think of using additives a lot more seriously now. And I would especially think of doing that when I'm storing my car for longer durations, because as you know, ethanol has this habit of getting really friendly with petrol, which means then you could have bigger issues with that fuel just sitting there in your tank. Our next question is from Arun Red05, and he's saying, shouldn't all EVs just have diffusers? Well, Arun, you're right, they should. And why should they have diffusers is the question that I would like to answer here. What do diffusers really do? Diffusers are those little pieces of plastic you've seen at the back of a car, which looks sporty. But the job of a diffuser is to take the air that's flowing from underneath the car and suck it out of there quickly and efficiently. And not just that, to then, as it flows out from behind the car, streamline it so that it flows out smoothly. So it's doing two things. By sucking the air out from underneath the car quickly, the air on top actually pushes the car down, creating more downforce. Now, more downforce should generally be bad, right? And reduce efficiency. Well, along with that, it's also sucking the air out and streamlining it. And in that, it's reducing drag And reduction of drag means increasing efficiency, and that will make a car overall more efficient while also making it better in terms of behavior when it's driving at higher speeds. Which brings us to the next bit. At what speed does aerodynamics really come to play? Now, there is resistance, friction, rolling resistance from the tires, which is the bigger factor when you're driving at low speeds. And the tip over point seems to be at the 70-kilometer mark, where aerodynamic resistance becomes a bigger factor than the other resistances up until that point. And from that point onwards, it's aerodynamics which will play a bigger part in extracting better efficiency from a machine. So yeah, should EVs have diffusers? Yes, all cars should have diffusers, but not just the ones that are supposed to look good, the ones that are supposed to work properly. HK Ampadi has asked a question. Should we just put foam inside regular ICE car tires like they do in EV tires? Well, that's a doozy of a question. And the simple answer as an idea to that is yeah, why not? If it reduces the sound levels, it's a good thing. But this can't be an aftermarket DIY kind of solution because, on the face of it, it seems like why not? It's a simple thing. You open the tire up, it's anyways a tubeless. You just take a piece of foam, take some glue, and stick it on, and it's done. Well, as simple as it sounds, it's not going to be as easy as that because the foam that will go into EV tires will be of a particular density. It'll be tuned according to the tire so that it is killing the frequencies that are being generated by the tire, and so that the foam then cuts that out. So it's not going to be as easy as taking just any piece of sponge that you were lying around the house, cutting into a circular shape, and then sticking it into the car. It's going to be a little bit more complex than that, but I love how you're thinking DIY culture. We need more of it for sure. Amiable has asked, should you just use nitrogen in the tires of your cars or bikes? Well, in a perfect world, I would say yes. In an ideal world, I would say yes, absolutely. Because nitrogen gives you a benefit which I absolutely love: consistency. What nitrogen does as an inert gas is it doesn't react to that one factor that changes everything with the regular air that you fill in your tires: temperature. With temperature, the pressure in your tires goes up as the air heats up. This heat is coming from the tires themselves, which are flexing as they are hitting the road, is from the road that's transmitting into the tires, and all of that gets transferred to the air, which then heats up. And like I said, the pressure goes up, which changes the comfort, how the car behaves, and therefore your sense of connection with the car will also alter with that. Nitrogen is inert. It won't do all of that. It will just feel consistent through it all. So that's the big advantage of nitrogen, and it has several smaller advantages. Nitrogen molecules are larger than oxygen molecules and moisture, so it doesn't leak out of the tire as easily. And because it's just nitrogen in the tire, it means that it's also lighter than having air and, I mean, oxygen and moisture in your tires. So that's the really nerdy stuff. But the big advantage is that it's more consistent. But the problem with using nitrogen is when you're traveling and if and when you need to top up, you need nitrogen around. And if it isn't, and you use regular air, well, then the advantage of nitrogen is gone. And next time around, you're going to have to deflate your tire entirely and then fill it up with nitrogen again to get the benefit of nitrogen back. So the question is, are you willing to go through all the hassle for those minor benefits? And agreed, the benefits can also be better fuel efficiency, which will be a good thing. And all these benefits add up in the long run. But are you willing to put up with all the hassle in the long run? Is the question. Our next question is from Niranjan Wagmare. And his question is, do you think dash cams are important? Well, I was a dash cam agnostic kind of guy, which means I would have said dash cam, yeah, sure. But given where we are today, especially in the urban environment or what's even happening on highways, I would want a dash cam in my car if I'm using it regularly. I actually would want one in a car as a standard feature if I think about it now. I do want it in my existing car, which doesn't have one today, because it's just like an insurance policy for water scenarios, which just shows that you weren't in the wrong. let's assume you weren't in the wrong. It proves that you weren't in the wrong. It's a deterrent in many cases for, let's just say it, uncomfortable situations that seem to arise on our roads now, where people are trying to con you out of money at times, at the very least, and in some cases where people are just behaving irresponsibly. So yes, I would want a dash cam in my car, definitely, and I think this is like one of those things should become a standard feature in cars. Which other dash cams that I would ask you to check? I'm going to put some of those names down in the comments and you can check them out. This is research I'd done maybe about a year ago and should still be applicable today. Well, that's all we've got for you on this episode of Ask Motoring. If you've got any questions that we haven't answered as of now, head to the Motoring app, not to just post the questions, but to meet the people that are there. They're awesome. And you can post your questions there as well with the hashtag AskMotoring. And Shumi and I will love to get back to you with our thoughts and answers. Thanks so much for watching.